The radio crackled once, sharp and sudden, breaking the quiet of the control room. "Dispatch, this is Platform 9, do you copy?" For a moment, Mark Reynolds didn't respond. He just sat there staring at the radio like it had spoken on its own. Platform 9 hadn't been in use for years. He checked the wall clock out of habit. 2:17 am night shift always felt longer after 2. The trains were sparse, the city above was mostly asleep. Down here in the underground transit control room, time moved differently. Mark leaned forward in his chair and adjusted the volume knob, thinking it might have been interference. "Dispatch," the voice came again, calm, male, professional. "We're waiting for clearance." Mark pressed the transmit button. "This is Central Dispatch. Say again your location." There was a pause, long enough to feel deliberate. "Platform 9, the voice repeated. "Eastbound," Mark frowned. His eyes moved to the monitor wall in front of him. 12 screens, each one showed a different part of the subway system. Platforms, tunnels, stairwells, all live. Platform 9's feed was black, not static, not broken, just off. Mark had worked night dispatch for 6 years. He knew the system well. He knew which platforms were active, which ones were under maintenance, and which ones had been permanently closed. Platform 9 fell into the last category. It had been sealed after an accident, a late-night collision, an empty train that never should have been moving. No passengers, one operator. After that, the platform was closed, the tracks cut from the active line, the signage removed, the cameras shut down. It existed only on old blueprints, and in system archives no one bothered to clean up. Mark swallowed and spoke into the radio again. "Platform 9 is inactive. There shouldn't be anyone assigned there." Then the voice replied, just as calm as before, "That's not what our schedule says." Mark leaned back slightly. He told himself it was a cross-channel, someone joking, someone tired and confused on another line. He pulled up the digital schedule on his terminal and typed in the platform number. Platform 9 status closed, no updates, no overrides. Still, his fingers hovered over the keyboard longer than necessary. "Identify yourself," Mark said. "Badge number." The response came faster this time. "Badge 4472, operator clearance level 3. Mark froze. That was a real format, a real clearance level. And badge numbers weren't public. He muted the radio and exhaled slowly. Anyone in his position would have done the same. He tried to approach it like a system issue, not a mystery. He opened the maintenance log, scrolled through recent entries. Nothing. Then he noticed something odd. A new line appeared at the bottom of the log. 2:16, Platform 9, standby request pending. Mark hadn't typed that. He checked the timestamp again. 2:17 am, the radio crackled softly, unmuted on its own. "Dispatch," the voice said, "we're falling behind." The control room felt smaller suddenly. The hum of the servers louder. The overhead lights flickered once, then steadied. Mark stood up and walked closer to the monitor wall. He brought up the tunnel feeds near where Platform 9 used to connect. The cameras showed empty tracks, concrete walls, dust. Then on one screen something shifted. A light, not bright, just a faint glow far down the tunnel. Like a work lamp, Mark leaned closer. "That's impossible," he muttered, though no one was there to hear it. The glow moved slowly, then stopped. The radio spoke again. "Train is standing by." Doors closed. Mark pressed the transmit button, his voice more controlled than he felt. "There are no active trains on that line." "Then there is now," the system chimed. A soft alert tone Mark had only heard during live routing changes. On his terminal, a route diagram adjusted itself. Lines shifting, signals activating. Platform 9 blinked from gray to yellow. Mark stared at the screen. He hadn't authorized anything. No supervisor override, no password prompt, just compliance. That was the moment, Mark would later say, when I stopped thinking it was a glitch. He tried calling his supervisor, straight to voicemail. He tried the emergency line, no answer. The radio crackled again, closer somehow. "Dispatch, passengers are getting restless." That word caught his attention. "Passengers?" Mark asked quietly. "Yes," the voice replied. "They've been waiting a long time." Mark looked back at the tunnel camera. The light had grown brighter, and behind it, shapes still, upright, too many to count. They didn't move like people walking. They just stood there packed together, facing the same direction, facing the platform. The camera feed jittered once, then stabilized. The shapes were clearer now. No faces, just outlines, shadows against the light. Mark felt a chill move through him, slow and heavy. He told himself it was just exhaustion. Long shifts could play tricks on the eyes, but the system log updated again. 2:21, Platform 9, passenger load. "Unknown dispatch," the radio said gently. "We need clearance." Mark's hands rested on the console. He didn't answer right away. "What happens if I don't?" he asked. The voice hesitated, just a fraction. "Then they'll keep waiting." The lights overhead dimmed slightly, then returned to normal. On the monitor, a new camera feed activated. Platform 9. The image was grainy like old footage. The platform lights were on, half of them flickering. The platform was full. Figures stood shoulder to shoulder, silent, facing the tracks. None of them moved, none of them looked at the camera. A train sat at the edge of the frame, doors closed, lights on. Idle, waiting. Mark noticed something else, the timestamp on the camera feed. It wasn't live. The date read October 14, 2011, the night of the accident. His breath caught. "That's not real," he said aloud. The radio crackled. "It's happening again," the voice said. Mark backed away from the console. His chair bumped into the wall behind him. The system chimed once more, route clearance available. All it would take was one click. He imagined the trains moving, the doors opening, the system completing the request. He imagined what might happen if it did. Mark reached up and shut off the radio. The room fell into silence. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then the monitors began to flicker. One by one, feeds from across the system showed the same thing. Empty platforms, then faintly figures appearing at the edges, standing, waiting. The radio turned back on. "Dispatch," the voice said. "No static now. Clear, close. They see you." Mark shut down the main terminal. The screens went dark. The lights followed. When the morning crew arrived at 6 a.m., they found Mark sitting in his chair, pale and shaking, staring at a dead monitor wall. The system logs showed no errors, no record of Platform 9 reactivating, no radio transmissions, just one final entry, timestamp 2:24 am Platform 9, request DNIED. Mark quit 2 days later. Platform 9 remains closed, but sometimes during the quietest hours of the night, dispatchers report hearing a voice on the radio. Calm, professional, asking for clearance, and somewhere underground a platform waits. If you enjoy and want more of stories like this, kindly subscribe to this channel.